What's going on, people? Just coming to you once again with an update in the crypto market. Last video I made, I was talking about maybe you could be potentially bottoming out. And currently, I mean, there's still a possibility, but that possibility is getting weaker by the day, simply because right now, as you look at the price, we are currently below the 2017 high. And all day we've been trying to fight to get above it, and we're rejecting that critical area. And if we break these lows, back from September 6th, where it closed, the candle close was at 18,790. You get a daily candle close below that um, candle close, it's pretty much a wrap as far as this potential bottoming out phase. And really is more has to do with the broader economy more so than crypto itself. I mean, there are issues in cryptocurrency market, with a lot of altcoins that are just pretty much scams, and just the fundamental things that are weighing down this market, with the Luna situation. But on a broader term, liquidity is being sucked out of the market, and we're in a recession. I know they're trying to spin it as we're not in a recession, but we are in a recession. But it's more fundamental reason why crypto just won't perform. I'm still, even with all that, I'm still leaning slightly bullish until we break this area, until we break this candle close on the daily. If we can somehow make a higher low pivot, start to rally and break break this last local high around, let's say you just break the wick around like 22,800. And you can also see that I have this trend line, just drawing this trend line from May 31st, the high around like 32,450. And just, I have this trend line straight down. You can see that price action has respected it three times. And then at the bottom, you have your trend line. You break the trend line at the bottom, it's pretty much over. I'm currently I started to accumulate a position in BTC and Ethereum. And this is why I'll show you on the hour. We're starting to develop a channel, it seems. And so you had an impulse down, and then you have a downward sloping channel. Seems to be forming. Prices, having a hard time. So I'm going to start from the bottom up. Or so like this. And prices is really having a tough time just breaking above the channel, but you're kind of like, it's like a controlled selling. You can see at the bottom, people are buying up near the bottom of the channel. And if we could break to the upside, around right now would be, the top would be like 19,970. That would be above the 27 high again. You could get a more significant rally to the upside. If that were to play out, I mean, the measure move is not that big. I think it's only like a 2.5% move, maybe a little bit, 3.5%, sorry, move to the upside. If it just, played up the measure move. But if, it were to rally for real, and like say, I know everybody's waiting for Wednesday for how far the Fed will hike rates. If maybe the Fed comes out and only hikes rates to 50 basis points, maybe we'll get that more substantial rally, and you end up breaking that trend line that I have plotted on the daily. And so let me just have this visible in lower time frames. Yeah, at the back to hour, but that's what you're hoping if you're still bullish. You is really dependent on what the Fed does and just you know how much tightening they're going to do as far as interest rates. We could actually look at interest rates in a minute, but this is what I'm seeing right now in BTC. If you look at the longer term time frame, I was looking at the monthly. We just been consolidating, and what's kind of troubling right now, you're below the consolidation. Last 2 months, you've been trying to use this 19,907 as like support. I could actually just plot a trend line there. If you break that trend line on a monthly, it's pretty much a wrap. You're going to your next major support, which isn't really till candle close is like actually 14,000. 14,000 would be next. You won't hold these wicks. I mean, you have a wick at 17,359, which you already bounced off of. That won't hold this time. You're going to 14, you break 14, you're probably going down to 10. So it's very critical that Bitcoin gets above these levels very soon and starts to rally. If it doesn't, it's game over. And I mean, right now I'm positioned in a way, either way, that if it does break down, I'm actually currently short. And I'm going to share my Twitter because I do more updates daily, or just there's more up to date on Twitter. We were having like a riser wedge forming, not like, but there was a riser wedge forming on BTC that I was able to spot. But more I was able to spot was on the MACD on the 4-hour. You had some bearish divergence forming, and I just tweeted out that that we were developing some bearish divergence. We were in a rising wedge, and I was expecting a pullback at the very least. And so I got in a short around 22.6, and I'm just holding that short and really not thinking about selling it until maybe we break out of this channel. If we break out of this channel, I know in the hour there was some bullish divergence on the hour, and it might be developing like some triple bullish divergence. I'm not mistaken on their MACD. Potentially, yeah, potentially there is some triple MACD bullish divergence forming on the hour. If you can get some positive momentum, you could see a more substantial rally to the upside. And yeah, I will be closing current position. I am short. I am short and long at the moment. And you are developing on the 1 hour some bullish divergence on the RSI as well. It's actually starting to develop some quadruple bullish divergence on the hour. And so that it does gives me some more of a belief that we will see some more positive price action. But that's one of the main reasons why I'm still bullish is the fact that we look back at I mean, if we got it again on the monthly, we got to get it back above this 19. Actually, this is a little bit. Let me see what this candle close is. It's actually 19,985. You can get back above there. You're looking good. But if you don't, that's for your monthly. You close below that in the monthly, it's pretty much over. Looking at the weekly, you did have a bullish week last week. You're bearishly engulfing that price action from last week. That's not bullish, but when you're looking at your RSI on the weekly, one of the reasons why I was very optimistic that we could see a more substantial rally. We do have this like channel on the RSI that you did break out to the bullish side. Maybe we're just back testing the breakout this week before next week we see a major run. You have the FOMO FOMC meeting. Maybe that's the catalyst to see higher prices, but you know, what I don't like right now is you are developing some hidden bearish divergence on the MACD on the weekly, potentially. And also, I forgot to mention on the daily, well, another reason I took a short, that the fact that you are developing some hidden MACD bearish divergence on the daily, and you're probably in a day or two, you're probably going to see negative momentum if we keep selling. And let me just turn this off the daily. And all these little trend lines that get in the way. But that's what I'm seeing with Bitcoin. I mean, if it does just nuke down, I'm positioned already from that, taking that short, and I'm just holding. If we could somehow pivot off this, this move, this pattern that we have, this downward channel right now, then I'm currently long and just seeing how this will play out. But I haven't looked today at the US 10-year. I'm gonna look at that real quick. And we are near like yearly highs. Yeah, I mean, looking at the weekly, it's not looking swell right now. That's very concerning. You have interest rates still rising. People are still selling bonds, and going into the dollar. But I'm going to show you another reason why I'm still bullish on Bitcoin. You're trying to break these highs. This candle close high back from June. It was around 347. You break that, your next fib is 376. And if you look left, there's actually longer term time frame. What's it, a monthly? That's actually like your next resistance, your next major resistance around there is wick. So unless there's some, look at the daily, maybe there's some bearish divergence. You're hoping that you would catch a sell off here. You got the same basically high, depending on where you close. You might develop some bearish divergence on the daily on the US 10-year. That would be a positive development. Did we make a new high? That's 345.3, and that is 347. So you got to make a new high. You got to close belt above 347, but maybe potentially a double top with bearish divergence. But it's still too early. You could just easily just get an impulse up next week on the 10-year. So that's not positive. The only thing that's really your really last hope is actually the euro and the dollar. Looking at both of those assets, and I have a I have the euro already mapped out. The euro is in a downtrend, and let me just delete these fibs real quick. It's been in a downtrend. I mean, it's been really selling off since January 2021. You got a clear defined downtrend since February 2022. And, this week, again, I'll share my Twitter in the description. I was commenting how we were potentially breaking the downtrend on the euro. You did have some bullish divergence on the daily. I was long on the euro, made some money off of that. Sort of position where that CPI information came out sort of a little bit before then. I was expecting probably rejection, and what you need, just like with Bitcoin, you need a higher low. You need to pivot, and you need to break these highs. You do that, a lot of people that are bearish right now are going to be in this for a major surprise, because you're going to see positive price action in your risk on assets. But really, until you see it, until it plays out, it's kind of hard to, be bullish at this point. I mean, you gotta break these highs. you gotta pivot here. You really don't want to break these lows. You break these lows. I mean, the euro is probably going like 85 cents to the dollar. Um, that's really, honestly, is my long-term target. But I'm just expecting a bounce. Everything is super oversold. I mean, you go to the monthly right now. The monthly RSI is at 26. I mean, it's all-time low is in 2015. I mean, this was back at, it was at 21. I mean, you could see those levels depending on, the macro, what's going on with the economy. But, I'm just, what you're hoping for is a pivot. And when I'm also looking at the weekly, um, when I'm looking at the weekly, that you do not on your MACD, but on your RSI, you do have some bullish divergence. You are about to go positive on your MACD. So maybe we do, pivot next week and you break out of the downtrend and you have a retrace rally, Bitcoin and S&P, the stock market, it rallies to the upside for a few months, and then in the future maybe we roll over. But that's what I'm hoping for. As long as the euro doesn't break down, I'm still bullish. Um, if it breaks down, if it tests, it gets starts to test these lows. Really, if you break out of this pattern and it's consolidating in on the lower time frames, it's pretty much over. And you're probably going to be seeing lower lows on Bitcoin, on S&P, and everything else. The inverse of the euro is the dollar. The dollar was another reason why I was bullish on crypto. You did have some bearish divergence on the daily. It did, played out, but it's not really accelerating to the downside. Had, from your high to your newer high, the bearish divergence on the MACD, and you had bearish divergence on your RSI as well. You had that on the daily, but you are also potentially developing that on a weekly. There's triple RSI bearish divergence potentially, and MACD bearish divergence on the daily for your DXY or for your dollar. But I mean, if it keeps pumping, it's not really going to matter much. And again, it all depends on the macro. But that's what I'm seeing right now with Bitcoin. There's a few other assets that I'm actually longing right now, and ICP and USDT. And the reason why is the fact that it looks like it's bottoming out. I mean, there's several also that look like they're bottoming out. There is we were again just like with like the kind of like similar with the euro, we were in a downtrend, but this downtrend started in September. You falsely barely broke out twice actually, and you broke back in the channel. You're just like at the baseline of the channel right now, and you're developing a ascending triangle at the bottom, and I mean you're right near the bottom of the trend line for the ascending triangle. So it seems like if we can pivot here, if everything can pivot, I think ICP is going to see a tremendous markup in value. I mean, this is a 100% move, but come and retrace, you could be seeing ICP, if this is the bottom, anywhere from 36.21 to 55.72. I mean, that it would be a common retrace. But again, it's all dependent on what Bitcoin does, what the euro does, without what's going on in the broader economy. But these are the plays right now that I'm currently long in ICP. I'm holding this position, looking to add if we start to break highs, because could be a potential accumulation pattern, accumulation reversal pattern that, like I said, you could be seeing a tremendous upside if it were to play out. I mean, you're talking about a 500% gain, actually a 800% gain if you hit the 618. Commonly, you hit the 50% fib. If you talk about like a 650 common retracement. And another one of them I've been really hawking. There's really three altcoins that have been, tremendously beaten down. Is Filecoin. Filecoin, again, is similar to ICP, similar to the euro. You're in a downtrend. Falsely broke out bullishly, broke back down to that downtrend, at the bottom of the channel, broke out. You're back testing the channel, and you're trying to pivot, and you're kind of making what seems to me like a double bottom here. And right now, if you look locally, you're kind of trying to pivot right now before you hit the bottom of this this range that you're in. And if you do, I mean, that's super bullish because that's like a short-term thrust to the downside. You can see that here on the 4-hour, we're getting a lot of wicks at the bottom of this 564. I mean, you could take a risk now. Not financial advice, but you could take a risk now, put a stop at 563, and if it pumps, it pumps. If it dumps, it's a low risk, high reward type of situation. Yeah, Filecoin is a coin that when it starts to move, it really moves. I caught Filecoin at 2177 back in the bull market, back in January 2021. It ran 2177 to like 150 area. We tapped out around 240. It was tremendous gain. It's kind of reminding me with the current price action that we were in. Again, this was like you were just consolidating bullishly, and you were just like kind of having like a rounding price action on your daily time scale. I mean, again, my short-term target really for File is $28. If we can break this 669 area, actually 660, and then break these highs around the 1150 area. If you could break that, it's potential double bottom. 100%, 40% gain from there. From here, it's like a 400% gain. But a common retrace, and it sounds crazy, there's no way this can happen. I was saying the same, had the same analysis for Filecoin back in February 2021, February 2021. A common retrace. If you break $28 from your high, just using the downtrend from your high to low, a common retrace is anywhere from $49, $62 to around $77. So you could be talking like a tremendous return. With low risk, if things do pivot here. I mean, this coin is down like 95% from its highs. It's like, how further is it going to drop? And this is another reason why I'm just, I don't know how you can be, I understand like what's going on in the economy and stuff like that, but a lot of these assets have lost tremendous lot of value. I mean, what are they going to do? Lose another 90%? Lose another 90%. We're talking about Filecoin under $1. I mean, it's possible. Anything's possible in these markets. But what's more probable to me is we see higher prices. And that's why I'm looking at these assets, why I'm taking positions in these assets, even in the conditions that we are in right now. And the last coin I'm going to look at before I get out of here, or maybe I'll look at one more, is SNX. And SNX, I have a better chart on the perpetual chart for Binance. I mean, I even have writing up here because I've been looking at this for so long. SNX has been consolidating in this downward channel. Again, Euro, Filecoin, ICP. You start to see what I'm looking for. This is like, has been consolidating. It's not performing as well as the others. And I don't have a position in this asset right now, simply because we did break bearishly at this consolidation. But I'm just mentioning this. If we can ever break this trend line, you could see tremendous upside, um, to the upside. But again, just to keep it short and simple, well, under this video, you know, we've been in this downtrend for a while now, really over a year for a lot of these assets, over a year. I mean, they can continue to sell off, but at some point they're going to pivot. And I'm thinking that pivot to the upside is going to be sooner than what people are believing. Um, but we'll see next week. Really, you're going to see whether or not it plays out bullishly very soon. That's what I'm seeing in these markets. Is when they give a update. If you are watching this content and you're trying to figure out what's going on in these markets, but just stay safe out there, position yourself well, and expect volatility. Coming up in this next week. But that's what I'm seeing in the markets. Really until next time. Peace.